Welcome back to the GoGen Emergency Survival Generator. We're going to do a quick instructional on how to use the GoGen. So the GoGen comes, as you see right here, it comes with this carrying case, which has a front pocket, and this is where you can put the items that do come with the GoGen, the inverter, the light, and also it has the connectors on the back. So these also come with it. You can keep this in the front. And then also, you just take the GoGen and put it inside the bag. You can draw sync it and then carry it along. It's very easy to use. And also, if you're in an emergency, you can put that in the back window of your car or something like that so people can spot you. For instance, if you're lost in the woods, things like that. So, first of all, the GoGen does two things. You can crank and actually crank power and use it without the battery in the inside. Or you can crank and store it and then use the battery power that's stored up so you can just walk away. The same thing goes with the solar. You can use the solar and just directly power things with the solar, or you can use the solar to crank to charge up the internal battery here. You also have the option of doing the same thing with an external battery. You can crank charge an external battery or solar charge an external battery and then use it through the same port that you use for the GoGen. So, how do we do this? Number one, cranking it up. So right now you see nothing's going on, and the GoGen has, this is quite blank. But what happens is if I start to crank, and I'm doing this backwards just to show you the right way, there's a crank arrow here, and you hold this here and crank. Very easy to do. You do it at a very slow rate, so 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004. You can see it's very easy to do. I'm just using my fingertips. It's very comfortable. It's at a good rate. When you're doing this cranking, what's going on is that you're actually able to see the voltage right here in the meter. And it lets you know when you're at 12 volts. So just keep it at 12 volts. Then you know that you're getting that 12 volts, 12 to 13 volts, and it's going to be able to charge. Now, if you're just cranking, anytime you're cranking, it's powering up. You can do it with the source on. For instance, now, you could still crank and it would feed energy into the battery system, or you turn it off and then you can see directly that what your charge rate is. If you turn the battery on, it's going to get a mixed reading because it's also reading the internal battery. So if you just want to charge it, keep it off, crank it, keep it over 12 to 13 volts. After you've done it for maybe 30 seconds to a minute or two, then look at this and you'll see that the meter's gone up. Instead of being reading 12.3, maybe it's up to 12.4 or 12.5. So you've increased your charge. So that's how you crank charge with it. In order to solar charge the system, you simply put the solar system and hook it to the back right here. Red positive, black negative. Match the wires to the actual terminals here. And just do that and you will see that it'll read the solar voltage. So again, when you hook this up and put it in the window, this meter is going to read the voltage. And it's going to read somewhere around, maybe on a sunny day, 19 to 20 volts. Then you turn the switch on, and again, now it's taking that power and putting it into the system and charging it. So you have to turn it on, and you'll see that it drops down to whatever the voltage is. So for instance, if this battery is around 12.3, 12.4, since it's adding a little voltage, it might read a little higher, like 12.5. Walk away from it. Come back a couple hours later, you'll see that the voltage has gone up to maybe 13 volt. Simply unplug the solar or take the solar out of the sunlight. You can also not use the internal battery and just use a sunny day to let the solar system run directly through into here, and then maybe plug in your inverter and use the USB port and plug in your cell phone. And the sunlight on a sunny day will directly charge your cell phone without even using the crank system or the battery. So it's a completely powerful solar system, a battery system, or a crank system. You can also use the crank system if you don't have the batteries not even working in this and you don't even have the solar. You can just simply plug into this and crank and it'll make a lot of power. So that's one. We got the crank system, two, the solar. The third thing is an external battery. And the way you use an external battery is, again, you would use the positive. You got the red positive and then you hook the black negative. And over here it's reading the voltage. Again, when I take it off, you'll see that the voltage doesn't read. So it's actually reading the voltage of the external battery. So if the solar panel's hooked up, it's now going to directly charge this. So you leave the instructions behind that is to leave it off so that you read the external battery, hook up the solar, and leaving it off, it'll charge the external battery. If you turn this on, it's now going to charge the internal battery. instead of the external battery. All these instructions are spelled out on the website. The other thing is if you want to use the inverter, always you're going to plug in here. You can, of course, because of these external prongs, you can hook it up to something else other than the battery. So if there's something that's broke that you need to run that's 12 volts or under, you can hook up to this, turn it on, and it'll run it. But most times, 99 times out of 100, you're just simply either going to plug an appliance, the cigarette lighter, or maybe something like the recharger here for a flashlight or spotlight, or most times you're going to plug the inverter in, and then you would plug in your cell phone. And the cell phone can either be plugged in normally like this with the prongs, or you can use the USB port and plug a cell phone in. What's convenient about running it this way is you can run the cell phone and then also plug your USB in during night. Let's see, we get it right there, and the light's on. So the cell phone would be charging, and you'd also have your light on. So that's how you use it. You can crank, solar, or use an external battery to keep your devices charged. If you have any instructions, go to emergencysurvivalgenerator.com and shoot us an email, and we'll be happy to respond to you. Thank you.